Tragic crocodile attack in Indonesia. 14-year-old boy killed while washing clothes as friends look on. A devastating crocodile attack has claimed the life of a 14-year-old boy in Indonesia, leaving his family, friends, and local community in shock. Mohammad Rafi Hamza was washing clothes in a river near his home in South Konawe Residency, southwest Sulawesi province, when the fatal incident occurred. The teenager had gone to the river with his school friends and his younger sibling, a routine activity for many villagers who depend on nearby waterways for daily chores. And now we dive into the heart of this story right here on the AI podcast.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty difficult. It's a crisis that's been unfolding across Indonesia. Our sources are laying out this really chilling pattern of escalating and often fatal conflict between humans and crocodiles.
Yeah.
So our mission in this deep dive is to get past the headlines. We really need to understand what environmental pressures are driving this, what is turning, routine daily life in Indonesia into such a high-stakes gamble.
Well, it's so important to frame this correctly for you, the listener. We're not just talking about a few isolated incidents.
But these aren't just random attacks.
Exactly. We're looking at systemic pressures that are forcing two very different populations, villagers who need these waterways and, well, apex predators, into this dangerous, really unavoidable proximity.
And Indonesia's a biodiversity hotspot, right?
Hugely significant. It's home to 14 species of crocodiles. And the key one here, the main aggressor in these encounters, is the estuarine crocodile.
The saltwater crocodile.
The saltwater crocodile, highly aggressive, and it dominates these coastal areas.
And the story that really brings this all into focus is the tragic case of a 14-year-old boy, Mohammad Rafli Hamza. His death in Southeast Sulawesi province. It perfectly illustrates the whole problem.
It really does, because it shows how something so common, so essential, has become lethal. I mean, the sources emphasize just how dependent these rural communities are on their rivers.
What was he doing?
He wasn't doing anything unusual at all. He'd gone to the river with his friends, his younger sibling, just to wash clothes.
Just a daily chore.
A necessary daily chore. This isn't recreation. For thousands of people, this is how you wash your clothes. They don't have piped water. They don't have laundry facilities.
And the accounts from the witnesses, from his friends who were right there.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying.
It is. They say there was no warning. The crocodile just emerged from the water, lunged at him, and dragged him under.
And they were just left watching, helpless.
Completely helpless. In the aftermath, it speaks volumes about the community's terror. Authorities were called immediately, and huge search started.
Who was involved in that?
Everyone. Family, local residents, rescue volunteers, and the official teams, of course. Search and rescue, the SAR teams, and the fire department. The sources even mentioned they had to borrow boats from local fishermen just to cover the area.
And the search, well, it confirmed what everyone must have been dreading.
It did. They found Mohammed's body about 200 meters downstream.
Hmm?
The local police chief, Ibda Alamuddin Latif, confirmed it. And he provided the detail that the body had multiple severe bite wounds. The ferocity was just undeniable.
And that one specific tragedy, it's the entryway for us to understand this is a much bigger issue. Because Mohammed's death, as awful as it is not an isolated case.
No, not at all. If you look at the source material, it confirms this is a rising pattern of deadly encounters. You can see it in the other reports from just around that same time.
Like the other child.
Yes, just the month before. A 10-year-old boy named Afan. He was killed while swimming with friends in the Ingoy River in North Maluku.
So similar situation, kids in the river.
Exactly. Witnesses heard him screaming for help before he was pulled under. The local police chief even had to confirm that, yes, the Ingoy River was a known crocodile habitat. They called them swamp crocodiles.
And the sources show it's not just a risk for children. The pattern seems to extend to anyone using the river.
It does. There was the case of an 80-year-old pensioner, a man named Wasim. He was killed while he was bathing in a river in Lampung province on Sumatra.
Another routine activity.
A fundamental one. His clothes were just found on the riverbank, and his body was later discovered. In the jaws of a crocodile, they estimated was about 10 feet long.
So you have these three cases, different ages, different locations, but the same horrific outcome. It just forces you to ask the question, why? What is causing these animals to come into human areas and attack like this? There has to be some kind of systemic driver.
There absolutely is. And this is where the analysis from conservationists in our sources is it's indispensable. They point to two main factors, two deeply interconnected environmental drivers.
So are the crocodiles just choosing humans because they're an easy target? Or is it something else. Is it desperation?
The evidence points overwhelmingly to desperation. Driver number one is the severe reduction of their natural food supply.
Overfishing.
Widespread.
Yeah.
Often unregulated overfishing. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Industrial-scale fishing is just wiping out the crocodile's primary food source. We're talking large fish, turtles.
So when that food disappears,
The crocodiles have to change their behavior. The huge ones, the saltwater crocs, need a massive amount of calories, so they're forced to move. They go further inland, up narrower rivers, closer to villages.
because that's the only place left to find something to eat.
Exactly. They're following a food source that leads them right to people.
So their food is gone, but what about their physical space, their habitat? That must be the other half of the equation.
It is. That's driver number two, habitat destruction. And it's specifically linked to Indonesia's enormous tin mining industry.
Because we're not talking about small changes here.
No, this isn't minor erosion. Widespread tin mining fundamentally destroys the ecosystems these crocodiles need to live and reproduce.
So how does the mining actually change the river? What does it do that increases the risk?
Well, it works in a couple of ways. First, the extraction process itself. It's often large-scale dredging, and that causes massive sedimentation.
It chokes the river with mud and silt.
Precisely. The water becomes perpetually turbid, and that soot destroys their basking and nesting sites on the riverbanks. They need those clear areas to regulate their temperature and lay eggs. When those are gone, they get stressed, they get displaced, and they start looking for any undisturbed territory they can find.
And then there's the chemical side of it, too.
Yes, the runoff from the mines alters the water chemistry, the pH, the salinity. It makes large parts of their traditional habitat totally unlivable. It creates these environmental bottlenecks.
So you end up with a starving, stressed, displaced predator.
Pushed into the same narrow bit of river that people need for their daily lives. The shared space just skyrockets the risk of conflict.
Wow. So it's a perfect storm. Economic necessity, like mining and fishing, colliding head-on with human necessity, like needing the river to bathe and wash.
And that creates a massive dilemma for the local authorities who are trying to keep people safe. They can issue warnings, but what good is a warning in that situation?
Our sources say they are, though. The local police chiefs are urging extreme caution. The warning in South Kanawha was to heighten their awareness.
But that's the critical paradox, isn't it? It's one you really have to appreciate. These rivers are absolutely essential. This isn't a choice for people.
Right.
They rely on them for bathing, washing, fishing. So when you don't have any other infrastructure, telling people to just be more vigilant feels deeply insufficient.
You can't tell a community to be more careful when they have no other option. A safer alternative has to be provided.
Exactly. The sources get at this gap. The recommended solutions have to go way beyond just putting up a sign. They stress that real solutions mean investing in actual infrastructure.
Like what? What would that look like?
Things like building safer communal water points, maybe public washing stations set back from the river, or elevated bathing areas that minimize that direct contact with the water.
And what about managing the crocodiles themselves? Is relocation an option?
The consensus seems to be that it's rarely effective. They're very territorial. They often just come back. The core recommendation is always habitat restoration.
So fix the root cause.
Fix the ecological problem. If you restore their food sources and protect their nesting sites from mining runoff, the crocodiles will naturally spread back out into their original territories. It lessens the pressure, but that takes real political will to enforce regulations against some powerful industries.
So when we connect all this back to the tragedies of Mohammed, Afan, and Wasim, what our deep dive confirms is that these are not just unfortunate accidents. They are symptoms of these much larger ecological pressures.
A direct result.
It's the 1-2 punch of habitat destruction from tin mining and the food supply collapsing from overfishing.
And what's so critical for you to grasp here is the shocking human cost of all this. The sources are documenting a situation where the most basic, routine, daily chores,
Things we take for granted.
absolutely, they've been completely redefined. The simple act of washing your clothes has become a potentially fatal activity. And that raises a really profound question about the price of development. When the very waterways that people depend on are made lethal by these environmental shifts, what is the ultimate cost of progress?
The true cost of environmental change, it seems, can sometimes only be measured in human lives. Lives lost just doing a daily chore.
Okay, one question for you. What factors are contributing to the rise in crocodile attacks in Indonesia? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.